Johnny Nash, what can you say? Great songwriter, awesome, awesome singer when I think about singers, and fantastic, just all around person. I can't say enough about John. When he passed away, um, I didn't come out and really talk a lot about it because I was really just trying to reflect on just the life of Johnny Nash, and I read all the commentary and I heard some good and some bad things. By the way, they're going to do the same with us all. We're all going to hear good and bad things, but I know the Johnny Nash that I knew and that I know, he was just good, man. You know, um, I'm from Houston, and it's no secret, Houston, Texas, and I grew up there as a young person playing a lot of music. And back in those days, when I first started, I was performing with a local group called the Supernaturals, and we were known for having these big afros, right? And we were compared to the Jackson Five, and we were just as good. I mean, we were really good, but there was only one room for one Jackson Five. But we did a lot of great things in Houston. We opened up a lot of concerts for a lot of major artists there in the city. And I grew up at a time where we had music like Marvin Gaye, the Jackson Five, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Ohio Players, B.B. King, Bobby Blue Bland, the Stylistics, the Manhattans. Um, did I say Earth, Wind and Fire? Johnny Nash, Bob Marley. We had so much music going on in during those times, and I grew up listening to a lot of those artists and fell in love with the music. And so I was just very fortunate to grow up in a time where you had all that great music and you had uh, great radio promoters and disc jockeys were strong with personalities. In Houston, there was, George Frazier, and there was Boogaloo George on the radio. And oh man, it was just crazy. And Archibald and the Drells from Houston, and some other locals, Reggie Garner, the Flamingos. A lot of these names you guys won't know, but the music was really profound. And Terry with In Vogue came out of that same community, and of course later on, we've had some great artists as well. So the music in Houston was just very prolific, and it was awesome. And uh, I was a part of it, and I loved it. As part of the Supernaturals, and there were four of us in that group. There was Larry, Byron, Thomas, and of course Carl. And we won a lot of top talent shows in Houston. And my music instructor um, in high school was Joseph Addison, Mr. Addison. Man, brother could sing too. Man, he was good. And Joe said to us one day, he said, "Listen, I've got a friend of mine that I went to school with. He went to Jack Yates with. Jack Yates is a local high school there." And he said, "Listen, I've got somebody I want you guys to meet, and I think he can help you kind of move to the next level." And so he said his name is Johnny Nash. And of course, we knew John, and we loved his music, but we didn't know him personally. And so Mr. Addison picked us up, took us on over to Johnny's house, and he made the introduction. And John already knew why we were coming, and Mr. Addison had talked us up, and we sang for John. And John, he said, "Man, I love you guys, and I'd like to work with you." And that was really how we got started and how I met Johnny Nash. Um, so fast forward, we would come to his home and rehearse, and he would just talk to us about music and the business of music. And he said, "Listen, I've got a great song I want you guys to start learning." And it was a song actually he had recorded called "You Poured Sugar on Me," and that song was written by Bob Marley. and he had some success with that song. So we began learning "You Poured Sugar on Me," and we dug the song. Again, it was on a reggae tip, so we had come from the R&B, and so we were trying to adopt a certain style. John wanted us to fit in a certain style. We were still of that R&B style, but we worked with it, and one thing led to another. Uh, but it fizzled a little bit, and some of the guys in the group just decided it was taking too long, etc. It wasn't going fast enough, and they kind of went their own separate ways. And for me, I remember just picking up one of John's guitars one day, and I had fumbled and fiddled around with the guitar, but I really couldn't play very very well. And so I was playing, I was just humming, and he said, "You're always picking up the guitar and you're always just humming." He said, "You should really concentrate on becoming a songwriter." And then he talked to me about the music of the business of songwriting and publishing, and so it helped me understand all of the ebb and flow of the music business. So that's how I began my journey with songwriting, and I started writing. And John said, "Hey, man, here's the keys. Here's the keys to my studio." And the studio was this. It was like a small trailer, and it had a mixing board, and it had a reel to reel in it, and there was a cassette player back there as well. But reel to reel was really how we began making music, and I literally just spent nights there. Sometimes I would sleep there, writing songs, working on material. John would come out, or you know him as Johnny. And by the way, I knew him as John. I also knew him as Tom, Tom. I call him Tom. I don't know where we got that from. He called me Lil Tom. So, and that was one way we distinguished each other when we were around his family. They would say, "Hey, tell Lil Tom dinner's ready," or "Hey, knock on that door out there and tell him to get out of that studio. Tell Lil Tom to come in the house and get something to eat." So, but John, or Johnny Nash, as you know, he started helping me cultivate that whole writing piece. And he said, "If you will continue to write," he said, "I'm going to record some of your records for you, some of your songs." And I said, "Oh man, that would be great." And I was a kid, man. So I began writing, and John would come out, sing on some of the tracks, and we just try and develop songs that we dug and we loved and we liked. And we weren't trying to write hit records. We were just trying to write good songs. And that's really how I got involved in the songwriting. John called me, excuse me, John called me one day and said, "Listen, it's about time for us to start pitching some of these songs." And so he said, "I want you to come over today. I want you to pitch a couple of songs to a few artists for me." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, who are those artists?" And so John said, "Oh, it's Roberta Flack and Peabo Bryson." I said, "Roberta Flack and Peabo Bryson? Are you kidding me? Roberta Flack?" I was nervous as all get out, right? A little old bitty country boy who really, I didn't have the confidence. But he said, "No, man." He said, "Just play and sing the song. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine." So Roberta Flack, Peabo Bryson came by. I played those songs. And they showed this young songwriter just a bunch of love and respect, and gave me great advice. And they didn't record the song, but they loved the song, what we had written. And John told them we were co-writers on it as well, some of them. But that just tells you a lot about John. I wasn't this great songwriter, but he saw something in me that he maybe saw in himself. I'm not sure. But he said, "Hey, you can do this, Carl. Lil Tom, you can do this." Every now and then he said Carl Ray, but Lil Tom, you can do this. And let's go get some songs placed with some of these artists. And that's really how I got involved with writing and somewhat pitching the songs, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and then one day John said, "Your songs are sounding kind of country. You got great storylines. You may want to consider pursuing country music." and that's why I'm here, and that's what I do now, and it's all because of Johnny. I remember the first time I had a song recorded for John. It was called "You're the One," and it was released on Epic Records. And the LP was titled "Let's Go Dancing." So it was a great album. I love it. A great record. But I was in Houston and I got a call from John. He said, "Listen, I need you to come out to LA, and I want you to come and stay a while and just hang out a little bit, hang out at the studio and with the guys." And I said, "Okay, great." So he sent for me. I went out, and so I get to the studio, and this big long board. He sits me down in front of this board, and he steps back. Odell Brown, who was producing the record, he steps back, and they turn this music up, and they're just listening, and it's kind of quiet. And I'm listening. I'm saying, "Oh man, this is good. I'm loving this." And all of a sudden, Johnny starts singing, and I said, "What? This is my song." And it was the very first song that I ever had recorded. And John, he was so excited, tears was in his eyes, and I was excited too. And but again, he took this small young boy and helped shape his thought life around the music and gave him opportunity. And from there, we performed. I performed with Brooke Benton. He brought Brooke Benton in. They were doing a record, and I've had so many experiences with John, to meet so many great artists and to have so many experiences, too many to tell. Now, John recorded, again, "You're the One for Me." He recorded a song called "Baby You're Mine," which you can listen to online as well as "You're the One." You can hear that. He also recorded "Never Going Back to San Antone," which was a great song. I love that song. We also did a reggae tune called "We Got Trouble," which was a song about the times and many social things that were happening and during some of my years of growing up, still occurring today. Um, and there's another one we did that I wrote, a "Sing World a Love Song." Oh, I can't forget about that. Wow, what a song. And right now, after our elections with Donald Trump and Biden and all the unrest, "Sing World a Love Song," which is a song I also released on my bluegrass record, Coming Home, a gospel bluegrass record. "Sing World a Love Song," give it a listen. But he recorded a lot of songs for me and published a lot of my songs. But John was a great, great man. And the only regret that I have with John is we often talked about, once I transitioned to country, about us doing something together. And he was getting older, and he said, "Listen, I want to do this with you." And we had agreed to do it, and we never got to do that. And he got sick, and then he passed. But we often talked about how much we loved each other, and how much he loved his country, and how much he loved God. And I can see clearly now was really his banner. And when he would get down, he would really, really, really reminisce on that song. And I'll share one last story with you. I talk about the time a lot with friends when John and I were out hunting, and this wasn't unusual. On this particular day, we had horses that we were escorting up in the country, and uh, the truck broke down, literally, and there was no one around. So we literally had to get on those horses, and we rode from where we were stranded to John's home in the country. And we were tired that day, and we said we'd get up and call some friends he knew that to take us back and look at the truck and get it. But that night, after we finished eating, we were sitting out on the porch, and the town is called Edge, and it's on the other side of Bryan, Texas. And the night was so crystal clear and it was just so peaceful. You could hear crickets and you could see the stars and all that, but it was just pitch black, you know. And we had a small little light there on the porch. And John, uh, which was not out of the ordinary, he just started singing. You know, I can see clearly now the rain is gone, and as as far as you can hear, it just seemed like his voice just soared. And as a young person, I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, "This is Johnny Nash." The light really came on, you know, and I said, I'm writing. He's mentoring me. Sometimes I even sound like this guy, you know, so I'm gonna have to find out who I am because I'm so close to him in terms of vocally and how he sings. And I realized how blessed I was to be uh, mentored in the presence of someone like that. And we would sing harmony on the porch. And we would sing not only I Can See Clearly Now, but we'd sing Hold Me Tight. We'd sing Tears on My Pillow. We'd sing uh, You Poured Sugar All Over Me. We'd sing Never Going Back to San Antonio. We'd sing, 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 sing. And so I'm thankful. And I'm going to miss my friend. Uh, he made life for me uh, worth living. Ultimately, God does that. But I mean, people do add to your purpose and where you're going. And for all of the Johnny Nash fans, for all of the people who bought his records, all the people who listened to him, they know, and we all know how great of a singer he was, and that he will be missed. And I will miss you, Johnny. And one day I'll see you, brother, and we'll make music again. And until then, uh, there are more questions than answers, pictures in my mind that will not show. There are more questions than answers, and the more I find out, the less I know. But I'll see you on the other side, brother. God bless you.